What's up, guys, and welcome to Press A repeatedly and our 2019 Game of the Year celebration.
Game of the Year!
Justin Thomasello here with Christopher Gold. Chris, I am pumped. How are you?
I am excited. I am thrilled. Man, we did it. We survived another year. 2019, we did it.
It was a crazy year. Plenty of games came out. No real, absolute obvious number ones this year, which was crazy and fun and exciting and made for some very varied lists from our team.
I think, Justin, we got all these lists from all of our lovely viewers who, I think for the first time this year, we got everybody who submitted a ballot, right? We didn't have anyone missing.
We had everybody, yep.
Yes. And everyone had different lists. Everyone listed a lot of really great and interesting games. Some games that, unfortunately, we didn't have time to play ourselves personally. But thankfully, everyone was there to pick up the slack and give some love and recognition to these games that otherwise may have gone by the wayside. So it was really, really interesting and really fun putting together these lists.
Yeah, to give you an idea of how crazy it was this year, of the 11 lists submitted, 8 different number one games.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Just absolutely nuts. Like Justin said, there was really no clear consensus number one game of the year this year, at least as far as we were concerned. A lot of people consider this to be a down year. It's the year right before a new console is, new consoles are about to be launched, kicking off the next generation. So people generally it's a weak year. It was in some respects, but I still thought it was a pretty good year. A lot of fun games, a lot of really interesting titles come out there, and I thought it was, we had a lot of fun. So I don't think necessarily it was a bad year, but it was, it was interesting.
Yeah, I think when there is lack of emphasis on one giant game of the year, it leaves a lot of room and focus open for smaller games that normally wouldn't get that much attention. So, it's just really fun to see everybody's different lists and, how to put everything together and, basically celebrate the year of gaming that was 2019. Now, if you're new to our Game of the Year ranking celebration, how we do it, the first year we had a bunch of superlative awards, and then we did the top 10 total. Last year we only did the top 10, but this year we are happy to announce we are bringing back some superlatives.
That's right, Justin. We have 4 exciting superlatives this year, which all of our lovely listeners voted on themselves, including us. We contributed our own votes as well. And these superlatives, we have Best Music, Best Lookin Game, and Best Lookin Game, we allowed it to be the listener's interpretation. That could have been Best Graphics, Best Artistic Design, whatever they felt entitled a Best Looking Game.
Visually aesthetic.
See, there's the big words that Justin used. Number 3, biggest disappointment. This was either the game or the gaming-related news that caused you the most disappointment for this past year. And finally, number 4, one of my favorite categories from this year and from the year we had it the first year, Best New Character.
Yeah, and plenty of new characters made their foray into gaming this year. So yeah, how this works, how the show works, Chris and I literally just finished compiling and ranking everybody's list that they had submitted over the past couple of weeks. We put together, in order of votes, obviously, the winners of the superlatives and, of course, Game of the Year itself. If there was a tie in anything, Chris and I are basically the tiebreakers. We have a discussion, and then, we decide which one should take that spot. There was only a couple ties this year, not very many. So, the lists are all pretty genuine and set up the way as they unfolded when we were tallying the votes, and always just so exciting to announce everything.
Right. So what we do is our votes are based on a point system where our listeners ranked each game was given a certain point total. For the superlative awards, that was a very simple structure. Your first pick was worth 3 points, your second pick was worth 2 points, and your third pick was worth 1 point. And we compiled everything together and added their points totals, added them together, sorted them by who had the most points, and the top 3 vote getters were the winners of our categories. For Game of the Year, it was a little different. And we've had this system since the very beginning. It's based off of how voting is done for baseball's MVP award at the end of the season, where they list a top 10. But instead of having, say, first place be 10 points, second be 9, third be 8, etc., the first place, because it's Game of the Year and it's significantly more important than the second place pick for Game of the Year, the first pick is worth 14 points. Then the second place is worth 9, then 8, then 7, then 6, and so on. So someone putting a pick in Game of the Year in one list and not Game of the Year in another can dramatically swing how the total points go when we're compiling everything.
Yes, absolutely. Who won the MVP in baseball this year, NL and AL?
The MVP of baseball this year, let's see, because they do National League MVP and American League MVP. American League MVP was Mike Trout, and the National League MVP, I think was Christian Yelich from from the Milwaukee Brewers. Yeah, I think it was him. It was a little controversial, but this isn't a baseball podcast, so I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, so that's how it works. Now, who won?
The question you all have been very eager to find out.
We've all been very excited. We've all been very patient. Justin, let's say we dive right into it.
Yes. And of course, thank you to everybody for taking the time to submit the list. Of course, I know it takes, some work to put together. And again, as Chris and I were saying earlier, it was kind of tough to do that this year with these games. But, everybody came through on time, and it was awesome. And we thank you for
Yes, thank you to everyone. We love you, whatever. All right, let's get into our superlative categories first.
Yes.
Justin, we are going to kick things right off with our first award announcements, Best Music.
Best Music.
I love that sound effect. Jeff Keighley only wishes he had those types of effects. All right, so Best Music. Justin, number 3.
In third place, Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Woo!
I have not played this yet. I haven't even seen this yet, so I don't have much to talk about. But the fans who have voted, of course, were really into it.
Yes, I've seen Lewis and Elena play Pokemon. It's got some really cool music. The battle music is really great. When you switch to Dynamax mode, where the Pokemon grow giant and huge, it is like this epic, it sounds like it's the end of the friggin' world when these giant Pokemon are fighting each other. So yeah, the music really helps get you into it.
I do remember Zool saying there was some strange music parts in the game, particularly, I think in the wild area or the forest. The music just sounded really disheveled and very unlike normal Pokemon games. But I'm glad that wasn't the case, for the entire game.
Right. Pokemon Sword and Shield. Solid pick for our bronze medal winner. Number 2.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh! Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
It's hard to not think about how great the music is in this game because it pretty much has music from every game that ever existed. Not really, but you know what I mean. even just thinking about the amount of tracks, the licensing that they got, not just for the characters, but to get music from Final Fantasy, from Castlevania, from SNK, like everything just coming together in these really awesome orchestrational.
Yeah, no, that's the word.
Yeah, orchestra versions of these songs.
Orchestrations. No, that's right.
The DK rap returns. Everything is there.
Everything was there. The intro theme was just an amazing, instant classic piece of gaming music. Every battle, they picked and remixed these tracks to go perfectly with just a fighting game to get you pumped and ready to be yeah, I'm ready to beat the hell out of Princess Peach. Let's go.
Yeah, it was just a plethora of music available, all expertly recorded. It's awesome.
Very deserved. Now, little peek behind the curtains. This one was the first one that we've ever had a tie for first place. So
yes.
Justin and I debated amongst ourselves. It was a tie between Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and our number one winner. And we debated and we decided, okay, you know what, after thinking it over, Smash could go second, and the number one pick had to go to Cadence of Hyrule.
Yes, indeed. Now, again, it was a very tough pick. Chris and I went back and forth on it, but ultimately we decided that both of these games don't really have a lot of original music. I mean, there is some, but the bulk of it is remixes and remasters of older tracks. Obviously, Cadence is all Zelda-related tracks, and Smash has everything.
Right.
But what tipped Cadence over for us was the fact that it's Zelda music in a crazy techno style, which at first, hearing that sounds scary, mm-hmm. but that they nailed it so well, and how it works in with the gameplay of Cadence of Hyrule is such a huge part of it.
It fits in with what the game is trying to do like a glove. I mean, it fits very seamlessly with the whole aesthetic, the whole conceit of Cadence of Hyrule. You can't have Cadence of Hyrule without the music to accompany it. It was, solid tracks all around. Literally, the whole point of the game is to keep up with the beat and follow along with it. And we felt like it did the best job this year.
One of my favorite gaming moments of the year is going into the Gerudo Valley in Cadence of Hyrule, and you're hearing the Gerudo Valley theme remixed in this dancey techno, and you see the vultures that are just bobbing their heads along with the music when you first walk into the room, and it's so great.
So, yes. So, best music 2019 goes to Cadence of Hyrule.
Congratulations, here is your Pressy Award.
Yes, the first ever Pressy for best music. We suddenly decided to call them Pressies now.
Yeah, 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, literally barely a half hour ago. Next up, best looking game.
As Chris said earlier, this could be anything. It could be graphics, it could be art direction, it could be art style, character design, whatever really caught your eye visually in a game experience this year. And let's kick it off, Chris, with our number 3.
Our number 3 may be a surprise pick for a lot of you who've been listening to the podcast for a while. We've been trashing this game pretty much the more we've learned about it. But it is number 3. It is the third best looking game of 2019. It is Death Stranding.
You gotta give it credit. The game actually looks incredible. Even those wonky, weird trailers that we've seen over the years, they always looked great, even though you didn't know what the hell was going on. I remember a tweet that Kojima had put out earlier this year. It was just him sitting at he was playing the game on a monitor on his computer, and it was a screenshot of Norman Reedus sitting down on the grass, and just a very wide shot, vast view of the area and the hills and the sky and everything, and it looked gorgeous. The game is definitely breathtaking.
I don't exaggerate when I say that some of those screenshots literally look like real life. That's how realistic those graphics look. Visually, the game is breathtaking. Like, it is incredible how great this game looks. How great it is to play is an entirely separate issue that is unrelated to this topic, but it is gorgeous. I love looking at this game. I think it's a great pick for third best.
Yep, well deserved. Number 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
The Force was strong with this one.
I have not seen this in action. Chris, you, of course, have played this to completion.
Yes, I did. 100% completion. I actually platinumed this game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've never platinumed a game before until Fallen Order, so that was exciting. But yeah, this game just, looks really, really good. Like, you feel like you are a part of the Star Wars universe when you're in this game. Like, the inside of the Mantis, the ship that you use to travel back and forth, it looks a little grungy and lived in, which is perfect because that's what it is. It's a ship that's kind of been through the ringer a bit. The worlds that you travel to and you see and you explore are just really, really amazing. Kashyyyk has all the jungle motif going for it. Zepho is really varied because it has all these temples that you need to explore. It has these forests and mountains to climb. It's just really, really impressive looking.
Great pick. Game I really want to play. Haven't gotten around to this year, but hopefully will be next year.
All right. And the winner of Best Looking Game, the Pressy for Best Looking Game for 2019 goes to Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yes, indeed. I, of course, am a huge Luigi fan. I was very much looking forward to this game, so I rigged the award. No, just not.
Trust me, folks listening at home, I'm not as big a Luigi fan as Justin, and if there were shenanigans, I would have nipped those in the bud a long time ago. This is legit. We counted the votes together. It is a legit win.
This is 100% legit. When I first popped the game into my Switch, I think my mouth was hanging agape. I was not expecting this game to look as pretty as it does. I think I can safely say currently it is the best looking game on the Switch. The lighting effects, the particle effects, the facial expressions, the animation, like everything about this game just looks so good. It brings such life into the experience. Next Level Games really just absolutely crushed it. I was very much looking forward to this game, and it blew away my expectations in many ways, mainly being with how it looked. You can see like the threads in Luigi's clothes. You can see that the threads in the L on his hat. You can see his mustache hairs. It's awesome. Many people voted for this as one of the best looking games of the year, and it rightfully wins.
Yep, I've got nothing really more to add to that. It's, just graphically, artistically, this game really nails it in all aspects. It's a beautiful game, and you should all play it.
Yes, agreed. I think it's a Switch must-have.
Agreed. All right. Our next category, the biggest disappointment.
This is our most Schadenfreude category, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a bummer, but it's also kind of, we laugh about some horrible things that happened, I guess, in the industry, or if a game, that was expected to be good fell flat on its face, and this is the award for that.
Yeah, this is the Pressy that you don't want to win.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to look back, and you can't appreciate the highs without considering the lows. So
very true.
This is the part where we look at the lowest of the low from this past year, or at least as far as we're concerned. So,
yes.
Our biggest disappointment, number 3, the Blizzard Blitzchung China debacle. Whew, boy. We didn't really talk about this too much as it happened. Well, as a matter of course on the show, we try not to get, and I don't want to be one of those guys. We're not those type of people who are like, keep politics out of our games, but we try to limit political talk as much as we can, and it was really, really hard to do with the whole Blizzard China thing going on, because that was what was really dominating the conversation for a while. But my God, what a mess that was.
Yeah, of course it was a disappointment, but it was also very depressing to see something like this is still going on. Freedom of speech is not apparently freedom of speech anymore. That corporations can kind of control what you can or can't say. Governments can control what you can or can't see. Like, there's just way too many layers of stuff that shouldn't be anything about what video games are about, and it was just a real shame to see a company that's been around as long as they have, that's made as many great games as they have, be in the news for such bad publicity, making such a poor decision to alienate so many gamers. Yeah, it definitely was indeed a mess with a capital M.
Yeah, the fact, yes, China is a big market, and they have very, very strict controls on a lot of the freedoms that the people have over there. But Blizzard is ultimately an American company, based in America, where we do have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And for them to come down and punish so hard one of their top Hearthstone players for expressing a personal opinion was really disappointing and surprising, and just the aftermath, like the PR backlash that they suffered, was just real. Like, they handled it so poorly, but also they were kind of caught, I guess, between a rock and a hard place financially. Because if you say one thing to appease the fans, then the Chinese government is gonna be upset with you, and then they shut off that market. And unfortunately, that's a huge revenue stream for Blizzard.
Right.
So you can, from a business side, see where they were coming from, but it was still very disappointing to see them place those priorities higher than the priorities of, siding with the players and actual, freedoms, that humans should be able to experience day to day.
It's a very fair point, and to play devil's advocate here, like you said, that is a very tough decision to have to make. But how quickly they sided with China over, this player, and everything was just disheartening. And let's not forget, Blizzard was already on very thin ice after BlizzCon last year, and how they pretty much treated their fans as stupid, and how they wanted these phone games and everything, and they already were kind of in hot water, and this just really pushed them down even farther. Mm-hmm. And then they had BlizzCon this year, where they came out with a really half-hearted apology that started off, and then go right into the games and stuff.
Yeah,
very difficult year for Blizzard, and just a lot of sad stuff, I guess you could say.
No, I agree, and especially they were a company that was so beloved, because they put out so many great games. Just
so many devs are leaving. It's a mess.
It really is. Yep. All right.
We should lighten the mood here.
That was our third most disappointing of the year.
That was a tie.
That was a tie. We have to give an honorable mention to the thing that, by our vote total, tied with the Blizzard China debacle, and that was the video game Little Town Hero. Now, I realize these are maybe not quite on equal footing in terms of their impact on the world, but the way that our listeners voted for them, it turned out that, yes, maybe they were equally disappointing. So Justin and I discussed it for about 2 seconds to determine which one was more disappointing of the two.
Yeah, after deciding that one of them was a disappointing game while the other was a literal crime against humanity, the decision was pretty clear.
But yes, Little Town Hero did not meet expectations. So
yeah,
there you go.
Bummed out. I was ready to buy that game, and then I was talking to Zool about it, and he was like, "You better check reviews, my man." And I did, and they were pretty wretched, and it's a shame.
Yes, but that was an honorable mention. That is, they do not get an award.
No.
So the second place, the second most disappointing event of this past year, goes to Anthem.
And man, there are so many reasons why this is disappointing. I think for me, the main thing would be that this was supposed to be the game that got BioWare back on his feet, right? You know, Mass Effect Andromeda was, I think, one of the biggest disappointments last year, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And, you know, this was the game that BioWare was going all in on. It was supposed to be like a mix of Mass Effect and Destiny and all this stuff. I think some of the head BioWare writers literally came back to BioWare to work on this game. And, you know, it just, whether it was rushed, you know, I know there was a few articles written about the game's production that, you know, was tough and the struggles that came out of that. The game flopped out of the gate. People were unhappy with it. And the most disappointing thing is that they're not even trying to fix this. They pretty much were like, you know what? This is a lost cause. We're just kind of done with this, and we're going to chalk it up as a failure. And, you know, I understand it's a tough decision, but bad launches, as we've seen, can be restored. I mean, look at No Man's Sky. Look at Final Fantasy XIV.
Quick, just a quick interruption. I do think I remember reading like a couple weeks ago. Were they going to try to revamp it? I think they said they were going to try to go in and do like a No Man's Sky level update for the game, where they were just going to overhaul everything about it.
I have not heard that, but if that's true, then I'm glad to hear that, because I think there is absolutely something there. And yeah, it's unfortunate. It's going to take some more time and more money and more resources, but you know, if you can turn that around, like there have been success stories of complete 180s, you know?
Oh, sure. Final Fantasy XIV. That was, I mean, that game, when that first came out, that was just a complete flop. And they literally, Square Enix was like, okay, we got to start over. And they literally destroyed the world with a meteor and built it again anew. Like, that's not even a joke.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I just looked it up. From November 15th, as a Kotaku article, BioWare plans a complete overhaul for Anthem. So,
all right.
So yeah, they are going to attempt something. Whether or not it's successful or not remains to be seen. But hey, you know, crazier things have happened.
Yep. As it stands, Anthem is our second most biggest disappointment of the year.
Yes, but it pales in comparison to our biggest disappointment of 2019. This is a rare one, Justin, where you and I actually carried the bulk of the voting here and are what carried this one to victory. This was, of course, the announcement of the In the Valley of the Gods hiatus.
Yeah, man, what a bummer.
Just saying those words bums me out.
Now, this was in both of our most anticipated games of the year earlier in the year.
We both listed In the Valley of the Gods as our third most anticipated game of 2019. We both had it on our list and in the same spot. We were both looking forward to this game. And what happened is Valve bought Campo Santo.
Right, Campo Santo is the developer. They've also done Firewatch.
Yes. And yeah, they valved it up. So
they sure did.
So the first sign that there was issues with In the Valley of the Gods was a month ago or so, when a lot of the key developers from Campo Santo, who in their Twitter bios, they listed themselves as developers of In the Valley of the Gods. And then it changed to video game designer, video game developer, etc., with no mention of In the Valley of the Gods at all. And people said, what's going on here? And then, sure enough, about a week later, the devs all revealed that they're not canceling In the Valley of the Gods. They're putting In the Valley of the Gods on hiatus while the developers work on Half-Life Alyx, a VR game coming from Valve.
What a story, right? Like, a game everyone was looking forward to, put on hiatus, and in a series no one thought that would come back, is coming back, but as a VR exclusive. Like, it's just very, very strange.
I have a complicated relationship with Half-Life, because on the one hand, when I first played those games years ago when they first came out, those games were a revelation. I loved those games. They were like, okay, yeah, this game kicks ass. Half-Life 2, I'm Gordon Freeman. Like, the environmental puzzles were really well thought out. The level design was extremely clever. Everything blended together where it was fun, but nothing seemed like a video game level. Everything was designed in a way where it made sense, even if it wasn't a video game. But it was still fun to play. The shooting was great. Everything was wonderful. So for a long time, I was one of those people who was like, yeah, Half-Life 3, where's our Half-Life 3? But then as the years went on and Valve decided to stop developing games, all of a sudden, my love for the brand just crumbled and withered away into ash like the end of that Avengers movie. So at this point, my love for Half-Life is pretty much gone. And that's really like the cruel shame of it, is that I 100% would have bought In the Valley of Gods. I am not going to buy Half-Life Alyx, even though the same devs are working on it, and especially because it's a VR game, which I'm just not a big fan of in general. Now, granted, I've never tried VR, but every time I've done anything like that, like see a 3D movie or whatever, I get motion sickness. So I'm worried about dealing with that. So I really wanted to play that game.
I wonder if they thought that releasing the fact that a new Half-Life game was coming would soften the blow that In the Valley of the Gods was being put on hiatus. Maybe for some people that works, but I think it's just more confusing. And the fact that it's VR, I mean, that has to be something with this Valve wanting. I would guess was the HTC Vive is like the main one for Valve.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the
because Oculus is Facebook.
Oculus is
PS1
Facebook, and
Sony.
PSVR is Sony's.
Maybe they're just very unhappy with the amount of time and resources they put in the VR, and maybe thinking that they can kind of kickstart VR gaming better with like this big, franchise coming back, and like a first-person solo experience. I don't know. It's just weird news that's upsetting. And it's been years since Valley of the Gods was first announced, like at least 3, I think, right?
And that, oh man, there's just so many levels of disappointment. Like the more I think about it, because like it was a new IP from a beloved developer who they developed Firewatch, so they had the pedigree behind them, and they put it on hiatus, didn't cancel it. They put it on hiatus so they could focus on an established brand name. But what worth is that brand at this point? Like Half-Life 3 is never coming out. Like all the original developers, all the original writers for Half-Life, they're gone. They've moved on to other things. Some of them aren't even in the video game industry anymore.
Right.
So like a new Half-Life is just not happening. And even if it did, like Valve knows there's no way it could ever live up to the hype of what people would expect from a Half-Life 3. So,
and I can't imagine stopping working on a game for 3 years, taking a break for like a year or however long, and then getting back to it, that's gotta kill like the momentum of that so much.
Oh, that would, man, I can't imagine anything less motivating than that.
All right, well, we're both getting pretty disappointed right now.
Yeah, we need to move on. We need a palate cleanser. We need something fun. We need a fun, good category. And Justin, we've got just the thing. That, of course, is my favorite best new character.
Yes, these are always fun. First year we did this, we had a wild upset.
A extreme upset. The first winner, I will never get over this, was Mugman from the video game Cuphead. Not Cuphead himself, mind you. Mugman, the player 2 from Cuphead. He wasn't even the star of the game.
The game is called Cuphead.
And he won. Like, you don't even get to play as him unless you are a player 2. Like, man, I remember when we revealed those results, how mad I was.
Well,
oh, God.
It got crazy again this year because we have a 6-way tie for third place for best new character.
That is not an exaggeration. We had 6 different characters from this past year tie with 3 points apiece. Some of them were some people's best new character, others had a compilation, but all in all, these 6 characters all tied for our third place. Now, Justin and I knew we were never going to be able to debate this to break a 6-way tie. That's absurd. Yeah. So we're just kind of
said fuck it.
We said exactly. We applied the fuck it principle, and we're giving it to everyone split 6 ways. So
in alphabetical order.
In alphabetical order, not in any preference or anything. Here are the 6 characters that are all third place. Armilly from SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh. BB from Death Stranding, who, as you may recall, as a running joke, I am BB. You know, I am the baby who lives in Norman Reedus' throat. So, thank
great
you.
Year for
so
you.
Finally, I won an award.
Yep.
Next up, Caesar from Wargroove.
Yep, that is the white. I guess he's a Great Pyrenees commander. He's super awesome.
All right, well, we had a dog. Let's have a cat. We've got Kiki the kitty from Gato Roboto.
She is the heroine of Gato Roboto. She's a cat that basically lands on a space station after crashing the space pilot's ship, and then landing in a mech suit and exploring the area.
Let's see. Next up is Parvati from The Outer Worlds. Voiced by Ashley Birch. She is like, she's just so friggin' like sweet and charming in The Outer Worlds. Like, the whole world is so like, the whole galaxy is so cynical and like, brr, brr, brr. But Parvati is just a friggin' ray of sunshine in the whole thing. Yeah, I love her. And last and not least, because these all tied, now one is not better than the other, is Scorbunny from Pokemon Sword and Shield.
You know what? If I had to pick one Pokemon to represent all the new Pokemon from this year, I'm okay with it being Scorbunny. I'm a Sobble man myself, but
Grookey Gang.
I think Scorbunny is just if he was the face of that game, I'm cool with it. You know, who doesn't love bunnies? His big feet, his big ears flopping around.
Yeah, sure.
You know, he's a fire starter. I think the fire starter is probably always the most popular.
People love their fire starters, man.
Yeah.
Yep. But yes, so those 6 characters are all third place for best new character. Now, we had no such ties going on for our top 2 picks. So, our second best character of 2019 was Cal Kestis from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Another award for you.
Yeah, man, I'm really racking them up this year.
Cal is the protagonist of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
He is. He is a Jedi. This game takes place just after Episode 3. where Palpatine and Darth Vader have kind of taken over the galaxy, and now they're hunting down rogue Jedi. And Cal is one of these Jedi who are in hiding, and he is discovered by the Empire, and he is fleeing from them, and then he uncovers this whole plot where there is a holocron, which is a Jedi thing that they use to communicate. It's a list of Force-using children who could be used to help rebuild the Jedi Order, and you are in a race against the Empire to try to save this list. And Cal is the anchor behind everything. Like you said, he's the protagonist. He's got a lot of emotional baggage. Not going to get into any spoilers or anything, because the game is worth playing to explore his backstory and all the things that he's dealing with emotionally. But yeah, he's a fun character. He's interesting. I think he's a solid pick for second best character. I mean, he's ingratiated himself into the Star Wars universe very well, and I think people are really excited to see where his adventures go from here.
And he's a ginger.
Which means he is cool and great. His skin is a weird pasty white color. His lips protrude out weirdly in a way that's a little distracting. So he's great. He's wonderful. Hug a ginger. And of course, the number one best new character of this year. Finally, a character who is not controversial, one that I think we can all agree deserves the number one spot.
He waddled away with it. The goose from Untitled Goose Game.
Honk, honk, motherfuckers.
It's just, you just love asshole goose, right? Geese. You just love what they do. And you get to be one. You get to flap your wings at people, honk at people whenever you want. Just in a game about being a total jerk. And you get to do it as a lovable goose. What could be better?
I fucking hate geese. Like, they are such, like, legit assholes. Strictly for the sake of being assholes. But when you are in the driver's seat, when you are the goose, and you realize, I have this power now, I can be the asshole, you realize, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, if you could just be an asshole whenever you wanted, consequence-free, this game teaches you that it can be fun, you know?
It's okay.
It's okay to be an asshole. And
it's okay to take a kid's glasses.
It's okay to untie a kid's shoes and then steal his glasses. To lock a lady in a garage. These are all fun, good things that you should do in your day-to-day life. But the goose was hilarious. He was just a big asshole goose. I mean, what more do you want from me?
And he rips the Pressy out of our hands.
Hey, get back here.
All right, so that's going to do it for our superlative awards. Quick recap. Best music was Cadence of Hyrule with Smash and Pokemon right behind it. Best looking game, Luigi's Mansion 3 with Star Wars and Death Stranding behind that. Biggest disappointment, the In the Valley of the Gods hiatus with Anthem and the Blizzard debacle behind that. And best new character, Goose from Untitled Goose Game, Cal from Star Wars, and then our 6-way tie.
Which I'm not going over again. All right, so those were our superlatives, which means it's now time for Game of the Year.
Game of the Year. Like we said earlier, crazy lists, anybody's game really. Had no clue how it was going to shake out. We had some ideas of some couple games that would be higher in the ranking, but really, it could have been anything.
The way it shook out was just incredible. Just to give you an idea, the first year we did this, our top vote getter was Breath of the Wild. By a significant margin, it won Game of the Year, and it had, I forget, it was like 100-something points. Last year, we had kind of a two-horse race between God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. And God of War managed to win by 2 points with 89, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, 89 points to Red Dead Redemption 2's 87. It was super close, I can't tell you. This year, our Game of the Year winner had 69 points.
Nice.
Yeah. The point is, that is a low vote total for overall Game of the Year. But the overall winner it was with 69. So, yeah, we're really excited to reveal our list. A lot of these rankings were super, super close, especially towards the bottom. Some of these were only separated by 1 point each.
Right. Yeah, it was tight. It was crazy. We're going to get into it. Like we do every year also, we include 5 honorable mentions. That would be the games number 11 through 15 on the total list. And yeah, we're going to start from the bottom and move our way up to the Game of the Year. Strap yourselves in, everybody.
All right, so our honorable mentions. Let's just go through these guys real quick. So starting off with The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. Then we had A Plague's Tale. This one, that one was Bill's Game of the Year.
Yeah, Bill, I believe, was the only one to play this game this year, but it was his favorite, and, you know, I talked to him a few times, and he absolutely loved it, and it looks awesome. I would like to check it out.
They had some advertisements for this during the Keeley Game of the Year's Game Awards, so... Yeah, I saw it looked really cool. Should definitely try it out one of these times.
Yep.
Next up, Resident Evil 2 Remake. Then we had The Outer Wilds, which is a solid game. Everyone should play that one. And then our last honorable mention, Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah, just missed out on the top 10 by 1 point, I believe.
Yeah, so close.
Yeah.
But...
all right. Any of these honorable mentions surprised you of how, like, maybe this is too high or too low for you?
Nothing too surprising. The RE2 remake was really well received by a lot of people. Outer Wilds, that one is a lot of people's game of the year. Like outside of here, like in other parts of the internet, like a lot of people really, really loved Outer Wilds. Let me see. A Plague's Tale. Bill's vote for it is really what got it as an honorable mention. So that's So shout outs to him. That's it's very cool. It's on our radar now. It's on your radar too. So go check it out. Go play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, Link's Awakening was a solid, if unspectacular, experience for a lot of people. So yeah, I think honorable mention works really well for it.
I'm fine with these. I'm glad Resident Evil 2 got a lot of love because that game just looks gorgeous. It's a full remaster, you know, different camera perspective, everything, controls, and it came out earlier in the year. And usually stuff that comes out really early in the year, you kind of forget about by the time we put these lists together. So I'm glad that got some love. And Cadence, just missed out, but, you know, number 11, not bad at all. And, yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right. So now we're getting into the meat of it, folks. Here we go. Number 10 for Game of the Year goes to Borderlands 3.
Borderlands 3. A game I have not yet picked up, but really want to. Looks awesome.
Yeah, I haven't picked it up either. This game was friend of the show Dave's Game of the Year.
Yes, it was. Butch gave it high regards as well, and I think it was on Lewis's list too, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was not.
Okay, I am mistaken. Uh, the game looks awesome. I'm surprised it didn't get a lot of love for its art direction. I always love that cell shaded style of
Oh
graphics
yeah.
that the Borderlands games do. It was a very much anticipated game if you think about it, because Borderlands 2 came out almost 7 years ago at this point. So a
Yeah.
huge gap in between. I know there was the pre-sequel and DLCs and stuff, but the next main line was really looked forward to.
Hmm.
And it delivered, man. Like it's I think it's hard now to put out a game and build so much hype around it and have it be like as good as you want it to be. And as far as I know, I don't really think there's a lot of complaints about Borderlands 3 at all.
I haven't really heard anything out of it. Yeah, people. I mean, they're playing the game. They say it's a really solid experience. So yeah, I'm perfectly okay with it. I mean, Dave listed his game of the year. Butch,
Yeah.
I mean, he loves the Borderlands games. I know Zool, he was playing. I think was it Borderlands 2? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was playing that one for forever and ever.
Yep, solid looking game. Ton of DLC coming for it as well. And yeah, looks awesome. Can't wait
All
to check it
right,
out.
moving on. Our number 9 game of the year goes to Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, if you look at the PAR team, this game's kind of polarizing in some regards. Some people absolutely love it. Some people are concerned.
Concern is certainly a good word for it.
I am one of the concerned people. I will put myself in that field. But to be fair, I have not played it yet. Chris, what are your thoughts?
So, I did play this game. I did not have it on my overall top 10, though. I thought there were a lot of other games that I felt were deserving, but that's not to say that Fire Emblem Three Houses was necessarily undeserving. I mean, it's for what it is. It's a solid experience. It's got classic Fire Emblem gameplay where it's a tactical RPG, and the whole training your soldiers element is kind of transferred to a school setting. So you run around and you mingle with your students, and that helps build your bonds, which help you in battle. I feel like the biggest issue with Fire Emblem Three Houses was its pacing. Because there were times where you would be like, oh, you'd spend a long time running around the courtyard and doing this and that task and teaching classes and building up your students. I almost said soldiers, but then I was like students. But then I realized as I'm talking, wait, that's the same thing. Oh man, that's fucked up. But you then as okay, you do that for in-game time about a month, and then at the end of each month, oh, there's a battle, and the battle just takes a while to get through because of the nature of Fire Emblem and how its battle system operates. So the game has a lot of real stop and go type of pacing to it, and it really kind of kills the flow of the game.
I can see that. I really applaud when franchises make some big changes to change things up a little bit, because you look at Pokemon, right? There's some new stuff every game, but overall it's pretty much the same game every single time. Fire Emblem Three Houses here took a big step with adding this whole new school system training thing. You could argue maybe it was too big a step. My argument is that when the marketing and unveiling of this game focused too much on that new change and didn't show the actual core gameplay that everybody wants to see, so it was kind of getting people a little bit worried about it that way. I think they could have balanced that a little bit better, but I'm in favor of changing things up. and I would like to eventually play this, but I have just so much stuff I want to play. I'm not sure when or if I would ever get around to it. But we'll see. Good enough for number 9 on our list. So
yep, save that bad marketing argument for just a little bit later. I feel like we're going to be going into that one in just another minute or two.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so coming on up next, number 8 for our Game of the Year list, Super Mario Maker 2.
This is a tricky one, right? Because you look at Super Mario Maker, and that is like a genre-defying game, right? Like, it's a new experience. You're building your own Mario games. Like, that's crazy. And it spawned so many fans and so many, like, YouTube channels that are just devoted to like streamers that just solely play Super Mario Maker. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So, a sequel obviously would be coming out. We all knew that. But what would they do, right? Like, would they add more skins? Would they, add more multiplayer options? And, they did, of course. But I was a little surprised because I feel like it just wasn't anywhere near as popular as the original. And now that I think about it, maybe like the buzz kind of wore off because it is kind of like the same thing just with new features. It's just like a newer, obviously, Super Mario Maker.
Right. It feels like it could have been like an expansion to the original game versus the release of a whole brand new game.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the features that they added. Obviously, the slopes, that was one of the biggest requests that people had from this game. But they did a really good job in adding a whole lot of new features to this game, and new, really creative ideas, like the swinging claw thing. That was probably one of their best additions. They had the on-off switches this time, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so they, God, you said it on YouTube, Twitch. You can watch some of these guys, streaming these games and playing them, and people putting together some of these levels. I don't know who hurt these people when they were children to inspire them to come up with some of these levels, but... And then you watch some of these other people play it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know what to do," and they're like, "Burp, burp, burp, doop, 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 doop," and they just go right through the whole thing and beat it like it's nothing. And at the meantime, I'm sobbing in a corner, just imagining myself having to go through it.
For me, the single-player mode in this game was awesome. I love how they set it up. I love how many levels there actually were to get through everything. And that was personally what I played it the most for. And on that alone, it was definitely one of my favorite games of the year. So yeah, I'm glad to see it here. Number 8. I thought it would have a little more lasting power than I think it did, but maybe it's just I'm not seeing it because I don't watch these streamers that much. But I think it is still doing very well, and it just had a really cool new DLC where you can get Link and play him in the original Super Mario Bros. Skin, and he's got all his weapons, like a bow and arrow, a bomb, and all this stuff, and that looks really cool too. So,
yeah, I was watching a clip, a very short clip, just yesterday of someone he had to throw a bomb onto a bouncing spring, and as it was bouncing up, he had to pull out his bow and arrow, shoot the bomb, and it pushed it over to a block. And it exploded and blew up the block, and it unlocked the next part of the stage.
Wow.
Yeah, and the guy's face was his jaw literally dropped. He was like, "Holy shit!"
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, moving on.
Yes.
So our number 7 game of the year goes to Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield.
Are you surprised after all the backlash?
Kind of. A little, but not really.
Yeah.
This was a game, going back to the marketing you were talking about earlier.
Right.
This is a game that has really left a sour taste in people's mouths, and I'm not talking about the spicy curry. That is a part of it. Like, I mean, that's a part of the marketing right there. Was like, I mean, you were very critical of that when they talked about it. How they focused so much on the whole spicy curry cooking mechanic, the clothes that your character could wear.
Yeah,
They focused a lot of marketing on those aspects of the game, but not on the actual gameplay or anything else. And oh man, a lot of Pokemon fans, like hardcore dyed in the wool Pokemon fans, felt really taken for a ride with this game.
yeah, it's just strange to me because you have a game that everyone is very excited about. Pokemon is one of, if not the biggest game franchise that's out there today, right?
Oh, it's the biggest like media franchise. Forget like games.
Right. Okay, so you have that. It's the first mainline Pokemon game on a console, so that's huge in itself. People are frothing at the bit for it. They got Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu last year. It was okay, but it's not what they wanted. They wanted that big new Pokemon game. Here it is. Here is like the first in-depth like 10 or 20 minute video about what that game is going to be, and more than half of it is like making curry and wearing clothes. Like, I'm glad that stuff is in there, but you can't show that off when people want to see like this game that they've been waiting on for so long and how it works and everything. Like, they want to see the engine, they want to see the battles, they want to see what they want to play, and they're not really showing that. So that raises a lot of problems, obviously, at the beginning. And then, of course, you have all stuff with the Pokemon not being able to transfer over, and then maybe if the graphics don't look so good and there's no voice acting and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, we all knew no matter what, this game was going to sell gangbusters, and it did. The record numbers are just insane for their opening weekend. I think it was like the biggest launch ever of a video game or something. It's crazy. And you know what? The game's fun. People are loving it. It's great. A lot of the people that complained are like still playing it, still buying it, and here it is on our list, number 7. So I think that's awesome. Obviously, that despite the hate, it's still generally very well received. And yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, moving. I'm a professional, folks.
Yes.
Moving on. Number 6. SteamWorld Quest: Hand of Gilgamesh.
I am so thrilled that this game got as much love as it did from our team this year.
Yeah, you know what? I'm happy for it too. I didn't play this one. I should, but I didn't play it. But I'm really glad that it got as high as it did on our list. This was Zul's game of the year this year. This was your second place game of the year.
Yes, it was. Not only was this a fantastic turn-based RPG that was giving me harks back to Super NES RPG days of lore. The art style is awesome. The characters are really cool. I love this SteamWorld world. I love that Image and Form has like this theme that they make these different games that take place at different time periods in that world. I think that's awesome. I love that they're not afraid to try new genres. I mean, they have, of course, their exploration games with SteamWorld Dig. They have a tactical RPG with SteamWorld Heist, and now they have this card turn-based RPG with SteamWorld Quest. It was a great difficulty level. It was a great challenge. It was a great length. I think I got about 20 hours in, and then it was done. It was a perfect amount of time. The music is awesome, including the final boss battle was really, really cool. It's just a very solid RPG, that turn-based RPG that you really don't see a lot of anymore. And I highly recommend people to check this out if you are a fan of those old school RPGs.
All right. Well, you heard it straight from Justin there. Yep.
The horse's mouth.
Straight from the horse's mouth. And also, I mean, don't forget also that this was Zool's game of the year, and if there's anybody whose opinion on RPGs I trust, it's Zool's. So there you go. That's two very strong recommendations for this game. So SteamWorld Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh, go check it out, go play it. And that goes for me too. All right. So that was 10 through 6. Now, from 10 through 6, there was an 8-point gap separating all of those games. It's just to give you an idea of how close the ranking was for all of those. But here, things took a little bit of a jump. So now we're starting to kind of separate, have a little separation here. With our number 5 game of the year, we're in the top 5 now, The Outer Worlds.
Yeah. Man,
I just loved this game so much. This was everything I wanted, everything I asked for. When I first heard about this game last year, this was my most anticipated game of this year. It was a Fallout game set in space, and it delivered on that experience. It was fun. It's hysterical. The combat was a little hit or miss, but the game provided enough non-combat options for seeing your way through different situations that you never felt like you were kind of stuck or you were in a kind of a creative bind. There's lots of quests that you can go on, side quests, main quests. I love, just the worlds itself that you go to are just breathtaking and beautiful. The characters are varied and fun and really well designed in and of their own right. Even Felix. And they just... I don't know, everything that Obsidian set out to do with this game, I feel like they just did, and they really knocked this one out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of what you just said there. I did enjoy this game. I have some problems with it as well, not enough for me to go into it right now, but overall I did very much enjoy this game. And like we said earlier in the year when we were first playing it, we felt like this game came out at a really great time for a game like this to come out. You have Bethesda and Fallout really struggling. There really wasn't a big Western style RPG that came out this year, and it's set in space and exploration and where your choices matter or whatever, dialogue options, everything, all that kind of stuff. And this hit at a time where people were really looking for something like this to come out, and it did very well. I think a lot of people will have this in their rankings at the end of the year. And Obsidian continues to deliver really great stuff. So it was a definite win for them, and looking forward for whatever they're working on next.
Yeah, no, they were really killing it, and they've really killed it with this one. Like you said, it's not a perfect game. It definitely has its flaws, but for me, I think it's easy to kind of overlook a lot of those flaws to award it 5th place.
I can agree with that.
All right. So here's the Justin pick, number 4. The number 4 game of the year for 2019, Luigi's Mansion 3.
That makes it sound like I took out whatever was really number 4 and put Luigi Mansion 3 in it.
Oh, wait, was I supposed to not mention that you did that?
That is not true, of course. I would never do something so horrible and heinous. Luigi's Mansion 3, yes, my personal game of the year. It was also Elena's personal game of the year.
Yes, it is.
And ranked pretty highly on some other lists as well. I love Luigi. Everyone knows that. I was very much looking forward to this game. I wasn't expecting a third Luigi's Mansion game. I was kind of shocked when it was first announced a couple years ago in a direct. And I didn't know what to make of it because I really like the first one, obviously, and I like the second one a lot, but I just didn't think there would be a need for a third one. I was happy to see it. Didn't know what it was going to be like. I could easily say this is the best of the Luigi Mansions games. It's so charming, so visually impressive, as we talked about earlier. Just so fun, so varied. The amount of care and detail that goes into this game is just awesome to see. I really appreciate how diverse the boss battles are for every floor that you go on. When you start ascending the different floors of the hotel, in the beginning, all the floors are kind of basic that you would expect in a hotel. But then things start to get a little crazy where every hotel has a theme. Like, you got the Knight's Royal Court, you got a garden room, you got the gym room, you got a pirate ship. Like, everything gets so different, and the way that every floor like really leans into that theme is just really cool and fun. The combat, ghost combat, is fun. Being able to slam into the ground is like a huge stress reliever, I think, for people. Just obviously, like you said, there are some caveats as well. The controls were a little tough. The fixed camera angle can be confusing, and some stuff like collecting a lot of the money or some of the stuff you have to do can be a little tedious at times. But there were a lot of like crazy advancements with this game too. Like the whole Guigi idea of being able to control two characters at once, or to easily split it up in co-op, is awesome. The co-op works great. I played it with Nick a few weeks ago, and it's just a really fun idea that's executed really well. I haven't played the multiplayer modes yet, like the Scream Share or whatever, but I heard those are fun, and they got some DLC coming out. I was really excited for this game, and it actually like surpassed my expectations. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I wasn't expecting to be as into it as I am, and for me, that's why it is my number one. But number 4 on our total list, and I'm great with that. Luigi's Mansion 3, play it, and I'll shut up now.
As you were rambling just then, and I kind of shut off my brain and just let you talk for a little while, I was thinking, it's really a shame that Guigi didn't rank really on our best new character list of this year. Like, he didn't get any love this year at all.
I thought about adding him to my list, but he's just a Luigi made of goo. So
that's all you need. What more do you need? He's a gooey Luigi.
Yep. Well, he's actually made out of ghost ectoplasm and coffee.
Gross. But yeah, no. In all seriousness, though, everything you said about the game is 100% true. It's just a gorgeous game to look at. It captures the whole feel of the games. Like, it's, definitely a worthy entry on our top 10 list. But it is number 4. And Justin, it just missed third place by 3 points.
That's right.
Came so close. But, unfortunately, it lost out to our number 3 game of the year for this year. The bronze winner the bronze Pressy goes to Untitled Goose Game.
Crazy the reception I guess this game got when it came out. I mean, when it was announced a few years ago, everyone loved the art style, everyone loved the idea of it.
They loved the name. Everyone loved the name, the lack of name.
Yeah. So we were all looking forward to it, but I was not expecting all the write-ups. Like, it was briefly like the best-selling game on the Nintendo Switch eShop at one point. Like, really impressive how much this game actually sold and how popular it became.
It was a phenomenon. Like, not even just like in the video game world, like people like in like the real world where
like pop culture.
Pop culture was embracing the Untitled Goose, and like, the goose was like showing up in like memes where it was stealing this thing or that thing. I was like, oh hey, get back here. and it was like it really crossed over. Like I don't know, just it. I guess provided an outlet for people to be an asshole, and yeah, it was a safe place for people to express that outlet.
It's great to see an indie game get this much recognition. We saw that last year with Celeste doing so well.
Yes,
and this year it was Untitled Goose Game, and you just love to see that.
Yep, it's it's a fantastic game. I know a lot of people I think had problems with the controls, but I mean, like, you're a goose. Like, yeah,
you're a goose,
you're waddling. Like, that's what gooses do. Like, you can't help that. My only real issue with Untitled Goose Game is, you had, like, the checklist of all the different asshole things that you had to do. But once you kind of got through that checklist, that was really it. You didn't really have a whole lot more to do afterwards. Like, you could do, like, try to do all the same things faster, like, before the church bell rings. But then there's really not much more replay value in the game after that. Aside from that, quibble, for what you get from the game as you're playing it, it's just a lot of fun. Like, it's hilarious. Like, there were a lot of times, like, just... I'm literally just running circles around a guy, and I'm flapping my wings, and I'm honking like an idiot. And he's just like, yeah, it was just so much fun.
Yeah, it was an incredibly popular game of the year, and number 3 on our list.
Number 3, but it is not number 2.
It is not number 2.
No, it is not. We're not good at this. So, number 2 is our silver Pressy winner for 2019.
Yes.
And that is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Star Wars Jedi, a game that came out very late in the year.
Super late
mid-November. I'm actually surprised the amount of people on our team that actually were able to play it and beat it, within the month or time or whatever, I guess it was, since it came out. But yeah, that just goes to show how fun, I guess, and addicting the game was. Chris, obviously you are one of those people who have played it and beat it, so I will let you run away with this one.
If you had told me even 2 months ago at this point that not only would Fallen Order be my game of the year, but that I would have platinumed it, and that it would have ranked second on our list of game of the year this year, I would have said you were nuts.
You were not impressed at the initial showing of that game.
No, I was not, which makes this all the more surprising to me. When it first was revealed back in E3 of this year, that just to give you an idea, this year, I was unimpressed, and, I've told this story before, how I kind of thought about it, and I came around to the idea, because I was like, these are ideas that have been done before, but there's no need for a game to remake the wheel every time it comes out. If it's got a winning formula, then, you can stick with that. And I love the type of games that Fallen Order emulates. So I was like, sure, I'll be open-minded, I'll give it a shot. And then I picked up the game, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, oh damn, okay. This, it's got the whole Star Wars aesthetic going for it. It's got really great, memorable characters, really great writing. The story is really, really good. I mean, you're literally in a race against the clock against the Empire, trying to save these kids. The combat is really fun and challenging. The environments are just really beautiful and expansive. There's lots of areas to explore, lots of secrets to uncover. The combat is appropriately challenging. It's very Souls-like. You can adjust the difficulty, though, at any time, which is really good and very helpful for anyone who feels like, sounds fun, but maybe it's too hard, I don't want to get into it. You can literally adjust the setting down to the easiest mode, and you can flail away at enemies like an idiot with your eyes closed and you're screaming, crying, and you'll win easily.
Awesome.
So yeah. just like a real Jedi.
Yeah.
It's just a really solid experience, and yet, Justin, for me personally, I was so torn about having this game listed as my game of the year, literally because of all of the technical issues that I ran into with this game, which I still ran into after they had patched the game several times on the PS4. I installed several updates, which cleared a few issues, but I was still running into issues where literally, especially on Kashyyyk, where I would run through an Imperial door and it would open like shh, and it would freeze, and Cal would freeze as he's running, and you could literally see through the door on the other side. You could see like the different layers of the textures like loading in. You would see like a base color, then you'd see the environment, then you'd see the shading, then you'd see that, and then the game would unfreeze, and then you'd run through the door. And I'm like, oh, that is bad. Like, that is unacceptably bad. And I know that there's, like, a lot of people aren't running into those issues. Butch, he's playing a game on his PC, which I'm pretty sure it could power, like, 2% of NASA if they just asked.
Yeah.
But Butch uses it to play his games, which, is fine.
That's fine.
And, not jealous at all. But he hasn't run into any issues playing the game at all. So, I thought about it. I swapped Star Wars with the game that I originally had on my number one. But, ultimately I figured, you know what? I platinumed the friggin' thing.
Awesome.
I must have liked the game enough to endure the technical issues to get that far with it. So if I was being truly honest with myself, I had to give it my game of the year. So
that's awesome.
So for me, I'm glad it was number 2. It is a solid game, deserves the silver Pressy. And, special shout out. Not only did I give it Game of the Year this year, but Butch also gave it Game of the Year, and Matt gave it Game of the Year.
Yeah. 3 number ones for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Well, that was 10 through 2. But, Justin, there can only be one.
Death Stranding.
Congratulations to Death Stranding, our Game of the Year 2019. Oh, God, can you imagine? Oh, man, I don't think we'd ever be able to live that down.
Yes, that's true. There is only one Game of the Year. It is not Death Stranding.
Not even close.
It is a game that actually came out in 2018, but made a cutoff for this year. Of course, we're talking about the ultimate experience, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
The 2019 Pressy Game of the Year goes to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Congratulations.
Everybody except for one had this in their top 10. It won by 19 points, I believe.
It won by 19 points. It finished with the fabled 69
nice
total point. Yep, nice.
Very nice. The thing about Smash Brothers that surprised me the most for this year is that there's a lot of talk within the past couple of years of evergreen games, right? You want a game that it comes out, but there's that hype level kind of stays around a lot longer than you would expect, right? It's not just like a game that you play for a month or two and then it's kind of like out, You want to keep the hype level going, throughout the year or even longer. And with Smash Brothers, these character reveals, I mean, everybody is so into them. And the fact that they're so wild and could be anything, like, it could be Colonel Sanders, the next character in Smash Brothers. It could be anything.
His final smash is, like, I'm going to shoot you in front of the gas station.
But, not just that. Of course, it's perfect Smash Brothers, right? The biggest roster yet. Everybody's there. Everybody that was ever in Smash Brothers is back. a brand new, crazy, in-depth single-player mode that was a lot of fun. We already went over the vast wealth of music tracks. All the features are back. The stage editor, the custom Mii fighter costumes. Like, there's just... it's in the title, Ultimate. Like, it really is the ultimate Smash experience.
I'm just imagine. I don't know why this mental image popped into my head. I think it's just because we're in the Christmas season, but I just had a mental image of like the Grinch riding his sleigh into the middle of Whoville, and he's tossing all these gifts out to the Who's. It's like, he brought back their thumblers, their toothpickers. He brought everything back. And Sakurai is the man standing on top of it. He's just tossing all the features out to everyone.
Yeah, I give the guy credit. I mean, the Smash community. I haven't even gotten into like the esports version of Smash Bros. With all like the professional Smash players.
Oh yeah.
All the communities that are around the invitationals that you can go to. And then like with the Smash character reveals, it's not just, hey, here's a new character. It's, hey, here's Sakurai, the developer of the game, sitting down and talking to you for 40 minutes about this new character and what went into getting them and how much love he has for the franchise that they're coming from. Like, it's just to keep that hype level going for as long as it's been since it's been released, and still going onward now they announced that there's going to be even more characters. Like, that's impressive to do. And I love those videos where Sakurai is showing off the new character, and he's like, "Oh, I'm doing pretty bad. I better, better turn it around pretty soon." And then he just friggin' lays waste to the CPU character. Oh my god, yeah.
And everyone is
awesome.
like, everyone online is just like, "Oh my god, Sakurai, he's a god at Smash," which I mean, you'd hope he would be, considering it is his game, but he legit will destroy anyone.
Very true. And online, that's a good thing to bring up as well. The online multiplayer kind of sucked when the game first came out, and it's a lot better now. Like, connections are a lot more stable. They've really improved that as well. A game that got better as the year went on. And
like a fine wine. It aged very well. It's going to continue to age very well. We've still got new characters that they have to announce for the thing. They announced a few months back that they're not going to stop with just the initial 5 characters that they were going to release. They're going to continue to release new characters, which I'm sure means new stages, new music, all that goes with that. We could see a lot of support for Smash Bros. Ultimate for a while now, like a long while after release, which is just awesome. It's incredible. We've had a lot of moments over the past year where we get together, and we fight and smash, and man, you, me, Nick, we've all had some epic fights that literally came down to like the last second. Like, one person misses a punch and the other one punches him off the edge. This is a solid pick. I've got no complaints whatsoever with Smash winning Game of the Year. This was the game that was almost going to be my Game of the Year before I switched it with Star Wars last second.
Yeah. It's our multiplayer number one. It has been for years, right? The PAR team is always loved to play Smash, play it at birthdays, gatherings, whatever. Like, it's just always fun. And the ultimate experience really came out this year. The ultimate experience.
And now it is the Pressy Game of the Year.
Yep. And there you have it. That is Press A Repeatedly's top 10 games of the year. Final recap: 10 Borderlands 3, 9 Fire Emblem 3 Houses, 8 Super Mario Maker 2, 7 Pokemon Sword and Shield, 6 SteamWorld Quest: Hand of Gilgamesh, 5 The Outer Worlds, 4 Luigi's Mansion 3, 3 Untitled Goose Game, 2 Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and number 1 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Chris, Any big snubs for you from this list?
Big snubs for me. Well, let me see. So, for me personally, I had the indie game Jenny LeClue pretty high on my list, but that's more of a personal thing than anything else. I understand a lot of people haven't played that one, so it not being on the list hasn't surprised me. Control is a game that a lot of people had ranked very highly on their lists outside of here, but unfortunately, not a lot of our crew played the game, so we haven't really given it a fair shake to see how good that is. I'm sure it's a great game. It's just that there were too many games and not enough time to squeeze them all in.
Yeah, and I would add to that Sekiro as well for the same reason.
Yes. Sekiro and Control were the two games that unfortunately we kind of missed out on. Yeah. Aside from that, nothing too surprising for us. We didn't have any Shenmue 3 love this year.
Oh yeah, what a shame.
It is a shame.
Yeah, but there's our list. It's a wrap of the list. It's a wrap of year 3 of Pressy Repeatedly. It was a great year. A lot to look forward to next year. You know, we have 2 new consoles coming at the end of the year next year. We got the PS5. We got the newly crappily named Xbox Series X coming out as well. It will be year 4 of the Switch. We'll see if Stadia gets any better from its launch. I know Amazon is planning something, and Apple Arcade. Like, there's just so much that's going to be happening.
There's
next
a lot coming out. We've got a lot of games coming out the first quarter of 2020. I mean, we've got Animal Crossing, The Last of Us 2. Those are the only 2 I can think of just right now. Ghost of Tsushima. That's that was your most anticipated for a while. We've got Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out.
Right.
A lot of heavy hitters coming out. But yeah,
it's the fun part. I'm gonna have to put together the Game of the Year 2020 list and start listing those games.
Yes, and just like you can expect every year, the first episode of next year will be each of our top 5 most anticipated games of 2020.
Absolutely. A discussion for next year, Chris and I were just beginning to elaborate on earlier this week, but we had a few of our team members this year that really spent a lot of time playing some big expansions to games that came out this year. And Chris and I are thinking about the possibility of making expansions that come out in a year part of the Game of the Year list. You have things like Monster Hunter Worlds, Iceborne, and Final Fantasy XIV's Shadowbringers. I know Zool and Lewis both played a lot of those games this year, and for them ranked very highly as their top gaming experiences of the year. So yeah, something to consider to possibly add that as a new rule for next year.
Yep, we're always looking to expand and grow. Just in terms of how we do things on the show. In terms of people tuning in and listening to us. So again, if you can tell people about us, like if you like listening to us, just tell people, hey, listen to these guys, Pressy Repeatedly, and share the show and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, any of that stuff. That will really help. Like, we're always trying to look internally and say, okay, what can we try to do better? There's a lot, but we're getting there.
Yep, absolutely. Keep your eyes peeled on our website. We'll be posting some articles of our personal top 10 lists of the year. And I guess that's about it. Have a great holiday. Thanks for riding with us this year. And we'll see you in 2020.
Yep. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. With that being said, that is it for this episode, this year of Press A Repeatedly. Press A Repeatedly posts new episodes Tuesdays on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast and will really help us grow. And thank you to all who have rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you.
You can follow us on our Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram. We are at PAR_podcast. I'm at cgold113, and Justin is at oaf7724. You can email us any questions or comments at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's parpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out on our website, pressarepeatedly.com, where you can find some of those top 10 articles we told you about. And that's all for this week. Chris and Justin signing off. And remember, to cast 1,000,000 ballots before you're arrested for voter fraud, press A repeatedly. Happy New Year, everybody.